let's take the Jewish business. There were many anti-Semites, let's say, throughout history. Yeah, there is many people who didn't like Jews for all kinds of reasons, also for reasons of bodily features. This is partly antipathy, partly prejudice, etc. This you can change because it's an isolated phenomenon. When I say racism, there you had suddenly people who had no dislike of Jews whatsoever, but who had become convinced of the argumentation of racist theorists. And this is no longer a kind of feeling. This is a kind of not rationalizing, but it is really a kind of reasoning. And this kind of reasoning has a logic of its own, and the logic is murderous. The logic is murderous. You know, if you agree that Jews are a bad part of mankind as a whole, then you must, no matter what your feelings are, agree that Jews should be exterminated. And now, if you have friendly feelings towards the Jews, you should overcome them. That is something altogether different from saying, I don't like Jews, I don't like Negroes, my sister shouldn't marry either, and anything of that kind. That is only opinion. But an opinion and an ideology are really two different things.
She makes a distinction between an anti-Semite who's an ideologue and an anti-Semite who's a Jew hater. The question she asked herself is what would turn Eichmann from being someone who had a moral revulsion to killing into someone who became one of the most important elements in mass murder. And she said anti-Semitism doesn't explain that alone. And bureaucracy doesn't explain it alone. Ideology and his belief that he was serving a higher ideal and a higher good, that's how she begins to understand. He was a joiner in a movement that he thought was justified. And if you read his interviews from before the trial when he was in Argentina, what you notice over and over again is how he had enormous pride in his ability to put aside his personal conscience in order to do what he thought was important for the German Reich.
She was talking about probably the most massive evil the world has ever seen. A man, this I think is essential, as she puts it in Eichmann, a man who sent literally millions of men, women, and children to their deaths, against whom he didn't even harbor ill feelings.